with a threat we can't control, one we can't even see. You're the only one who's immune.
One thing Spider-Man Brand New Day absolutely needs to get right is giving both Bruce Banner and the Hulk enough time to actually matter. If Bruce only pops up for a quick classroom scene to explain something to Peter, and Hulk only appears near the end to smash a villain before disappearing, that would be a complete waste. That's basically the minimum effort, and Marvel has been falling into that habit with a bunch of interesting characters lately. Instead of fully using them, the movies keep treating them like short cameos designed to get people excited for a trailer rather than making them important parts of the story. A lot of recent blockbuster movies have followed that same formula. Studios advertise a fan-favorite character as if they're a huge part of the movie, but once you actually watch it, they're barely there. The marketing promises one thing, but the movie delivers something completely different. That's happened often enough that it's becoming predictable. Because of that, Brand New Day shouldn't repeat the same mistake with Hulk. If he's going to appear, then make him an actual supporting character instead of another glorified cameo. There's no reason to bring in one of Marvel's biggest heroes, only to give him 10 minutes of screen time. The movie also has a chance to do something even more interesting than simply showing Spider-Man and Hulk fighting together. It can finally explore the relationship between Bruce Banner and Peter Parker. That's where the real potential is. Bruce and Peter have far more in common than people usually talk about. Both are brilliant scientists who spend as much time thinking through problems as they do fighting them. They're awkward, reserved, and far more comfortable in a lab than in a crowded room. Even though their personalities aren't identical, they naturally understand each other in ways most heroes probably wouldn't. There's another connection that makes this relationship even stronger. They both shared an important bond with Tony Stark. Tony mentored Peter, while Bruce worked alongside him for years as an Avenger. Since Tony is gone, both characters are dealing with that loss from different perspectives. That gives the movie a natural emotional bridge between them, instead of forcing a friendship that doesn't make sense. Brand New Day already looks packed with villains, action scenes, and larger MCU connections, so balancing everything won't be easy. But the movie still needs to slow down occasionally. Those quieter conversations are usually what make Marvel's best character relationships memorable. Peter has already shared meaningful moments with mentors like Tony Stark, Nick Fury, or at least the version he believed was Fury, Doctor Strange, and Happy Hogan. Bruce Banner feels like the next logical person to continue that tradition, but only if the film actually spends time developing it instead of rushing through a couple of scenes. Of course, as much as the emotional side matters, everyone wants to see Spider-Man fight the Hulk. That's one of those matchups Marvel fans have imagined for years, and it would feel like a missed opportunity if the movie ignored it. Hulk has always been one of Marvel's biggest measuring sticks. Whenever another hero survives a fight against him, it immediately proves how capable they are. Thor has done it, Wolverine has done it, Iron Man needed the Hulkbuster armor just to slow him down. Now, it's Spider-Man's turn. The trailers already hint that Peter and Savage Hulk are going to clash. It looks like Hulk loses control somehow, either because of the mysterious telepathic villain or simply because that's always a risk with Hulk. Whatever the reason, Spider-Man seems forced to stop him. That setup alone could produce one of the movie's best action sequences if it's handled properly. The Hulkbuster battle in Age of Ultron remains one of the MCU's standout fights because it balanced destruction, creativity, and tension instead of becoming random CGI chaos. A Spider-Man vs. Hulk battle could reach that same level. Peter obviously can't overpower Hulk, so he'd need to rely on intelligence, agility, web tricks, and quick thinking just to survive. That's exactly the kind of fight Spider-Man is built for. But Brand New Day isn't only about Hulk. The trailers suggest the movie is also laying groundwork for much bigger developments across the MCU. Peter is entering an entirely new chapter after No Way Home erased him from everyone's memory. Since nobody remembers Peter Parker anymore, he's starting over with almost nothing. Instead of relying on friends or family, he's throwing himself completely into being Spider-Man. That fresh beginning already gives the movie plenty to explore. At the same time, another storyline seems to be unfolding in the background. The Department of Damage Control appears ready to play a much larger role than it has before. One of the biggest surprises from the trailers is William Bill Metzger, played by Tramell Tillman. He appears to be leading the Department of Damage Control, and unlike previous versions of the organization, he isn't hunting Spider-Man. Instead, he actually wants his help. That's a major shift, because Peter's history with Damage Control hasn't exactly been friendly. They've questioned him, detained him, and treated him as a potential threat before. So seeing one of their leaders approach Spider-Man as a possible ally immediately changes the dynamic. According to the trailers, Damage Control is facing a dangerous enemy they can't stop because they can't even see the threat coming. That appears to be the mysterious mind-controlling villain played by Sadie Sink. Whoever this character is, they seem capable of taking over other people's minds without warning, making them incredibly difficult to fight. Spider-Man may be the only hero who has an advantage because of his spider sense. Since his danger sense reacts before an attack actually happens, he might detect the mind controller before anyone else realizes something is wrong. That would explain why Damage Control suddenly needs him instead of trying to arrest him. Even so, this partnership probably won't be built on complete trust. It feels more like two sides working together because they don't have a better option. There's another reason to be cautious. In Marvel Comics, William Metzger has connections to anti-mutant movements and early Sentinel projects linked to Bolivar Trask. If the MCU follows even part of that history, then his motives may not be as straightforward as they appear. That possibility becomes even more interesting because several fan theories suggest the mysterious telepath could actually be Jean Grey. Nothing confirms that yet, but if it turns out to be true, then Metzger's comic background suddenly becomes much more important. Even if the movie changes those details, it's clear that Damage Control's role is evolving into something much bigger. That direction actually lines up with what Wonder Man already introduced. The first season hinted that Damage Control might stop acting as an organization focused only on tracking and containing enhanced people. Instead, it seems ready to start recruiting them. Simon Williams spent years hiding his ionic powers because he wanted to become an actor instead of a superhero. By the end of the season, although he finally accepted his abilities, he still wasn't interested in joining some superhero team. His acting career remained his priority. Even so, Damage Control recognized how powerful he was. Agent Cleary made it clear that someone like Simon could either become a dangerous problem or an incredibly valuable asset depending on what happened next. That represents a pretty major change for the organization. Instead of treating every enhanced individual as someone who needs surveillance, Damage Control now appears willing to work alongside certain heroes if it benefits everyone involved. Spider-Man cooperating with them in Brand New Day would strengthen that shift even more. If one of New York's most recognizable heroes can successfully work with Damage Control, then recruiting other enhanced individuals suddenly becomes much easier. That's where Wonder Man Season 2 could naturally fit into the bigger MCU story. Simon still wants to keep acting, and he doesn't seem interested in spending every day saving the world. But if Damage Control offered him protection, helped keep his powers under control, and allowed him to continue living his normal life in exchange for helping during certain missions, that arrangement actually makes sense. Spider-Man could end up proving that this kind of partnership works. If Peter's cooperation with Damage Control succeeds, then the organization has a blueprint for working with heroes instead of constantly policing them. That idea also matches Wonder Man's comic history. During Marvel's Civil War storyline, Simon eventually became a registered and government-approved hero while also working with S.H.I.E.L.D. The MCU doesn't have to copy that storyline exactly because Damage Control could easily fill a similar role. And that's that for today's video, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.